Yo, what's up? It's Wyborn. Back again. We're following through. We're breaking new ground. I said I was going to make a video today, and like I said, I'm making a video today. So, I'm very happy right now, if you can't tell. Now, while I know that I've achieved GOAT status by following through with my promises, I might need to make a quick promise right now. There will be no video tomorrow. Not that anybody's waiting on it or anything, but I just need to say this just so it's very clear that I'm not just giving up and solidifying this. There will be no video tomorrow. But there's a reason for that, and I'm going to get into that later. But for now, let's not even talk about that because that's in the future. Let's focus on the past, which, that's, you probably shouldn't do that normally. But today we are. Now, I'm a bit of a habitual smoker, right? I take the edible. I smoke the Mary Jane, right? I partake. And recently something I've been doing, and I don't know if this is just me, but I've been kind of journaling some of my thoughts and some of the things I've just been kind of conjuring up, right? Like I've been thinking about, like, while I'm high, I just think about like novel ideas, like things to write about, which I don't write, but when I'm high, I want to write anything. I want to write the next fucking, who's a good writer? I was thinking about saying Stephen King, but then I remember that he had some like pedophile shit inside of the original It book. And, yeah, I don't really want to do that. But the point being, after I take a fat rip at the bowl, I start thinking in ways that I would maybe not normally think, right? Whether good or bad. I get a sort of sense of creativity. And that's not to say that I'm logical, because I'm quite the opposite of logical. Pretty much anything is sunshine and rainbows whenever I take a fat rip of that shit. Just fuck. I'm craving it right now. I'm like, fuck. But like I said, I've started journaling and kind of writing down some things that I've been thinking about while I'm high. And some of those things aren't even ideas, right? I'll think of like a video idea or like a novel idea, like I was just talking about, or something that nature, right? Something that can help me. But sometimes my mind just kind of trails off while I'm just munching Cajun trail mix and watching YouTube, right? Some thoughts just kind of pop into my head, right? And it's not like purposeful. They're more just thoughts. And today I wanted to kind of share some of those thoughts that I've been having, some of those things that I've been conjuring up while I, am under the influence. I brought 3 things, and maybe I'll do another video like this if I enjoy this, and if it turns out how I want it to turn out, I'll do another one. But today I got 3 things that I want to talk about that I've been thinking about while I was smacked. Now, let's just jump right into it. The first thing, which is not necessarily the first thought I had while I was high, right? I've had a lot of, you think a lot when you're high, or the opposite, depending on how smacked you get. But the first thing that I want to talk about is that the government gives people superpowers. Stay with me now. The government gives people superpowers, maybe like how it is in The Boys with the compound V and chemicals and shit injecting in the anus and you get the powers and shit, right? Maybe it's like that, but the government gives people powers, right? And the people don't show their powers because they know what's going to happen if they do show their powers, right? Because the government shows them things like movies and shows and stuff, to warn them about what would happen if they let their powers. I'm starting to realize this might not be a good idea, because it's really gonna say some things about who I am. They do that. They show them these movies and shows and things of that nature to basically warn them about what would happen if they maybe were to come out about it, right? Maybe they would be locked away or whatever by a foreign entity. They would take them away and do experiments on them and shit like that, right? And the reason that I thought this, right, because you might be like, why the fuck would you ever in your right mind, it wouldn't be my right mind, but why would you ever imagine this, right, or think that this would be possible? It was because I was watching poker and I saw Daniel Negreanu and he made a pretty good read in poker. Next one. Actually, I can't go to the next one yet. I gotta at least look. It's not out of the question, right? It's not impossible, okay? Let's just go to the next one. Now, the next thought that I want to talk about that I had conjured up while under the influence was that women are smarter than men. Now, this is both true and factual. Now, this one, and maybe it's because of the weed, but I actually kind of, I feel like this has some weight to it, okay? And my reason for this is because I was thinking, right? Well, like men, they make things and create and discover and you know, there's all the men, they're scientists and things of that nature, right? And people use that as like a way to say, well, women aren't, you know, they have their roles or whatever, right? And that all makes sense, yada yada yada, right? But here's the thing, okay? Who is really, and really just take this in, okay, for what it is. Who is really benefiting from this, right? Is it the men? Partly, right? But you know who really gets the golden end of the stick, right? The real prize is the woman. They don't gotta do fucking anything. All these lazy bitches have to do is just make some fucking food, do some laundry, and then, you know, give some head every now and then, and they have a perfect life. What I would do for that life, well, except for sucking cock, but they really make it out scot-free, right? I mean, they're making, they don't have to do anything, right? I mean, like, yeah, they have to do things, okay, and I'm not disregarding that, but and in actuality, like, I would much rather just make fucking food and be hot all day for my husband, right? I'd rather just do that shit, right? That's why there's all these men that want like mommies and shit, all the gay shit, right? They want a dominant woman and shit because they don't want to do shit. These women are living the life, okay? They're really living the life, right? The only thing I wouldn't want is the periods, right? But in any case, I can just go trans, so it doesn't really matter, right? Maybe I'm the genius. This just hit me. This is sober thoughts. Maybe I'm the genius. Maybe I'm the genius. Anyway, now this last one is more, I would say, of a, apologies for the fart, but it's more of a complaint than anything else. I couldn't even really call this necessarily a high thought, but I feel like I can because I was high while thinking this, so I have to give credit where credit is due. Now, let me say this. Spoilers if you haven't seen Death Note, the anime. Not the movie. That shit is ass. If you haven't seen Death Note, then, I mean, this really isn't anything good for you, so I'll just put it on the screen where I'm not talking about it. Anyway, and this could really use for some visual representation of what I'm talking about, but I'm really not in the mood to be doing all that fucking editing right now. So I'm just gonna say my words and you can either know it or not know it, okay? I don't understand how in Death Note, whenever Light and Misa meet with L, they don't kill L. Now, that makes sense, right? They captured Misa. She couldn't even kill him if she wanted to, right? And that'll make sense on how that played out. Now, the way that they prove Light's innocence, right? Well, she was innocent in the moment. He gave up ownership of the Death Note. That makes sense, right? But the way that they did the test makes fucking zero sense, okay? And I'll explain why. Little refresher on the test. Light's dad takes him into a car, drives him to go get executed, and then says, I'm going to execute you right here. And Light would have supposedly killed him if he was Kira, because he would do anything to survive and become the god of the new world or whatever the fuck, right? But the thing is, if that were the case, then why wouldn't Misa have just been able to kill L right then and there, right? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Keep in mind, this is all from their perspective. They were 100% right. But why did he know that constraining Misa and covering her eyes and everything, how did they know that that would stop her from being able to kill, right? How did they know? They can't have known. And in which case, with that knowledge, why would them going to the car and having that little altercation, why would that change anything? It doesn't make any sense. Now with that one, I'm not gonna go in too deep into. I'm gonna let that stew for a little bit and let opinions be judged. But let me just say, I've thought about every reason that this could be argued, and I have a counter argument to everything. So I think that this got some weight to it. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this off from here. I appreciate anybody that watched this, if anybody watched this. If not, I'll just pretend like somebody watched this. And yeah, Detroit Become Human video coming Thursday. That's the reason why I'm not posting tomorrow, is because I'm going to be recording and then editing on that day that I post on Thursday. Anyway, thank you to anybody that watched, and thank you for anybody that stuck around. Any interaction helps. And yeah, I'll see you guys Thursday. Y'all have a good one.